Demons are evil. All demons are evil, and such evil has to be eradicated by the Demon Slayer Corps. This is what we were initially made to believe. However, this was turned on its head with the introduction of Tamayo, a benevolent demon who worked relentlessly for centuries to one day make Muzan meet his end. However, all demons are blindly loyal to Muzan since that's how they were created. So what led to Tamayo being different? Why does she want to destroy Muzan, and how does she work towards this? We'll dive into every single detail in this video as we discuss the tragic life Tamayo has led, not so much as a human, but more so as a demon. And none of her achievements would have even been possible had she not been a demon, because it was the knowledge procured through centuries of living that became absolutely necessary in the final battle. As usual, this video is full of manga spoilers, so without further ado, let's get right into it. Origins: how Lady Tamayo became a demon. Tamayo allegedly hails from 5 centuries prior to the Taisho period of Japan, which is when the events of Demon Slayer take place. By the age of 19, she had a husband and children and was living a fulfilling life with her family. Unfortunately, she fell victim to a life-threatening disease of an unknown nature. Desperate to continue living with her husband and watch their children grow, there was nothing Tamayo desired more than a cure for her disease. In her pursuit of a cure, she ended up encountering the Demon King, Muzan Kibutsuji. Muzan played in Tamayo's face and hid his true intentions. He offered to treat her illness, and obviously Tamayo accepted the offer as she wasn't made aware of the details of the bargain. Soon after, Muzan turned her into a demon which healed her illness. The transformation from human to demon is one that snatches away human memories and makes them crave human flesh and blood. The entire transformative process can be quite physically taxing, so the hunger for human flesh is heightened even more as the newly created demon wants to regain its strength. Tamayo fell into the same situation where she became ravenous after becoming a demon and went rampant across town, killing innocent people, but most importantly, she killed her husband and children. Although demons mostly retain their human memories when on the verge of death, killing her family probably became the trigger for Tamayo and caused her to remember everything. As she realized that she had killed the people she wanted to live for, she fell into a deep despair. Despite demons being strongly loyal to Muzan, Tamayo bore hatred for the Demon King and for what he had done to her. It could be possible that her situation was different since she was scammed into becoming a demon, unlike the likes of Akaza, Doma, and the rest who knew what Muzan was doing to them. This might have weakened the link of loyalty between Tamayo and Muzan and allowed her to reacquire her human memories soon after her transformation. At some point, Tamayo tried to kill the Demon King as she craved her revenge on him for turning her into a demon. However, the enormous gap in power between the two that she witnessed soon after broke her spirit completely, and she unwillingly became his servant. Tamayo's estrangement from Muzan, how she became the very first demon to break her psychic link with the Demon King. So the thing about demon kind is that because the demons are made from Muzan's blood, they are psychically connected to the Demon King. As a result, Muzan is always aware of what his demons are doing and where they are. Tamayo's unique case led to her hating Muzan, but this very psychic link would not allow her to operate on her own, as Muzan would find out about her acts and whereabouts. With his blood inside her, he could also eradicate her the very second she acted out of disobedience. So her only way out was by breaking this link, which seemed impossible. That is, until the two of them encountered the progenitor of Sunbreathing and the strongest character in the history of Demon Slayer, Yoriichi Sugikuni. Having come across Muzan, Yoriichi sensed his unbelievably malicious aura and realized that he was born with his exemplary talent for the sake of slaying the Demon King. Naturally, a battle ensued. While Muzan was ridiculously powerful himself, Yoriichi was a class apart. The Demon Slayer knew that if an attack from Muzan reached him, it would kill him, so he dodged all of them, much to Tamayo's shock. But what was even more surprising was that Yoriichi was able to overpower Muzan in an instant and behead him. Desperate to stay alive, Muzan managed to regrow his head, but Yoriichi continued to cut him into pieces, while Tamayo found hope in the fact that maybe Muzan would finally be killed. However, Muzan would not. With his ability to manipulate his own flesh, he was able to split himself into over 1,000 pieces. Yoriichi destroyed as many as he could, but obviously he didn't take out all of them, and it allowed Muzan to flee. This moment was so important for Tamayo because of how weakened Muzan was, as he was almost on the verge of death. Enraged and devastated upon finding out that Muzan managed to escape, she screamed his name out in anger. Now, there's a rule that all demons follow. They never take Muzan's name in vain. If they even utter the word Kibutsuji out loud, Muzan's cells will kill the demon from within, which is what happened to the demon Susamaru from Season 1, who used snowballs and wished to join the 12 demon moons. Similarly, Tamayo screaming his name should have killed her, but it didn't. Soon she realized that the fight against Yoriichi and Muzan's subsequent attempted escape had caused the demon to spare so much energy that it had broken the link between them, allowing Tamayo to be free from him. Just because Muzan was was weakened didn't mean that it broke his psychic link with every other demon he had created. In fact, this isn't something that's been addressed, but it probably would have been had the defeat broken the link between Muzan and all of his demons. However, this only happened to Tamayo, who wanted to be away from Muzan because she hated him, so the intention of the demon bound to Muzan would matter here. Regardless, Yoriichi was quick to realize that Tamayo was not like any other demon and wished for Muzan's downfall. She even went on to reveal his strengths and weaknesses to the demon slayer, and he was ultimately spared. Following this, she escaped and survived, not by killing but by consuming the corpses of animals and humans. She even fought against her demonic desire to attack and kill humans, despite her natural desperation to do so. At some point, she settled down and began to study the biology of demons to one day find a cure for them so that they could be reverted back to humans. Around 2 centuries later, her medical work allowed her to acquire a body that did not require the consumption of humans for sustenance. She went on to meet Yushiro, who was a sick young boy and all alone. She asked for his consent and turned him into a demon using her medical science, following which he became her loyal apprentice and assistant. Like Tamayo, Yushiro was a benevolent demon. He was also the only human who became a demon without Muzan's interference. Tamayo's abilities. Tamayo's existence precedes that of the 12 demon moons, making her one of the oldest demons to ever exist. As someone who operated as Muzan's right hand for a while, it's safe to say that this demon is quite powerful. What makes her top tier, however, isn't her strength, it's her knowledge with respect to pharmacy and medicine, which she passionately pursued after leaving Muzan with the hopes of being able to create some drug that could revert a demon back into their human form. So let's start with that. As mentioned before, her study of medicine allowed her to find a cure for her demonic desire for human flesh, after which she only required small amounts of human blood to survive. She attained this by using her medicinal skills to alter her own body. At some point, she managed to learn how to turn a human into a demon, becoming the only demon apart from Muzan to have this skill. Yushiro aside, she even managed to turn her cat, Chachamaru, into a demon, which we witness towards the end of the story when the demon cat arrives to help out the demon slayers in their battle against Muzan. With Nezuko being a special type of demon, Tamayo worked with her blood as well. For starters, this experiment helped her free the demon from Asakusa's influence. This is the human whom Muzan transformed the day Tanjiro had met the Demon King for the first time. Why Tamayo needed to do such a thing was because she needed the man's blood demon art to use against Muzan after the Demon King had been blown apart by Kagaya Ubuyashiki. One of her most significant contributions to this story was working alongside the insect Hashira Shinobu Kocho to create the anti-Kibitsuji drug. As the name suggests, this drug was created to defeat Muzan once and for all, bypassing his strength or at the very least weakening him. Understanding the operation of this drug will help us learn how good Tamayo is at her job and how her centuries of research have finally proven to be fruitful. This drug was a 4-stage drug. The ingredients used to concoct such a drug are vague, but based on Tamayo's dialogue, the drug contains blood from many powerful demons who possess a strong dose of Muzan's blood and Nezuko. Each stage of the drug counters Muzan's abilities. It's necessary for the drug to have such stages since Muzan is way too powerful and will normally be able to negate the effects of any drug with his regenerative abilities. Stage 1 is the human conversion stage, which was created mainly by Tamayo with assistance from Yushiro with the sole purpose of turning Nezuko back into a human. As we know, this did prove successful. She then worked with Shinobu to improve the drug, and the overall product was somewhat assimilated into her own body. This was done so that if Muzan did absorb Tamayo, his cells would be exposed to the drug. Tamayo's suspicions proved correct, and after she attacked Muzan with the drug, he absorbed her arm, allowing the effects of the drug to kick in slowly. This started with Muzan's forced conversion back into a human, but before that could happen, Muzan was able to negate it. However, he didn't know that by doing so, he triggered the next stage of the anti-Kibitsuji drug. Stage 2 is the biological aging state, which is responsible for aging Muzan. The Demon King, who previously sported black hair, was seen with a head full of silver during his final battle against the Demon Slayers. In this stage, the drug ages the target by over 50 years with each passing minute. In ideal circumstances for Muzan, it would have no effect since he was nigh immortal and had regenerative abilities. However, demons need to eat humans to get stronger and to sustain themselves. With his body aging 50 years per minute, Muzan aged over 9,000 years within 3 hours without nutrition while being oblivious to what was happening to him, which eventually led to his white hair and his weakening, allowing the other demon slayers to stand a chance against him. Stage 3 is the splitting prevention stage, which exists precisely due to Tamayo's experience witnessing Yoriichi fight Muzan. She knew that if push came to shove again, Muzan would opt for the the same escape route by splitting his body, so she ensured that the anti-kibutsuji drug would counter that. How the special compound of the drug was created remains unknown, but what we do know is that when Muzan attempted to split himself again, he was unable to do so. And finally, stage 4 is the cellular destruction stage, where the drug destroys the cells of the weakened person who has been aged tremendously by stage 2. This stage causes the cells to deteriorate and die, which is what happened with Muzan towards the end of the final battle when his instantaneous regeneration was hampered. The Demon Slayers were even able to hurt him using normal Nichiren weapons instead of the ones that had turned bright red, proving just how effective the drug was. While Tamayo wasn't the only one responsible for the creation of this drug, it's her knowledge with respect to Muzan and demonkind that helped in creating a 4-stage drug where each stage had a hack to counter Muzan's absurdly powerful moveset. Ultimately, the effects of the anti-kibutsuji drug became responsible for Muzan being held back by the Demon Slayers until sunrise. Another of Tamayo's medicinal breakthroughs was creating the anti-blood demon coagulant, which could prevent the progression of a demon's blood demon art if the victim was infected with it. It was used on Zenitsu after his fight against Kaigaku. Tamayo also helped Shinobu Kocho with assimilating a lethal wisteria poison within every cell of her body in a way that would not cause the Hashira even the slightest of illnesses. This came in handy during Shinobu's fight against the upper rank 2 Doma, where the demon absorbed her body and in return was taken down by the poison within her, as wisteria was poisonous to demons. Blood Demon Art. Of course, a demon as old as Tamayo has a blood demon art, which is known as a blood bewitchment. In this art, Tamayo draws her own blood and casts spells using the scent of that very blood, which gives her the ability to toy with her target's brain. During one instance, she enchanted several police officers to prevent them from seeing herself, Tanjiro, and Yushiro in plain view while in Asakusa. One of her techniques is known as the scent of illusory blood visual dream, where Tamayo creates a hallucination that hinders the vision of her target as she creates beautiful floral patterns, which is what the police officers had to deal with. The other technique, magical aroma of daylight, was used on Susamaru, who was made to blurt out Muzan's full name. With this technique, Tamayo casts a spell that acts as a truth serum, causing her target's brain functions to decrease, which then prevents them from holding their lies, and they blurt out the truth. Tamayo's presence throughout the events of Demon Slayer. Asakusa Arc. Tamayo is first seen during Season 1's Asakusa Arc, right after Tanjiro's encounter with Muzan, where the latter turns an innocent citizen into a demon. Policemen gather around the protagonist trying to pull him off the recently transformed demon. Tamayo is present at the scene with Yushiro and, using her blood demon art, bewitches the police and flees the site with Tanjiro and Nezuko. Tanjiro is thrown off by Tamayo, who has a demonic smell but a humane personality. Eventually, Tamayo reveals that despite her being a demon, she's a doctor who shares Tanjiro's hatred for Muzan. She then takes the Kamado siblings to her hideout, where the latter learn about both Tamayo and Yushiro surviving off a little amount of human blood. She even tells them about her ability to transform humans into demons, as Yushiro was living proof. She explains how she did this not to increase the population of demons, but to give humans who were dying an alternative. She soon interacts with Tanjiro about a method that could be used to turn a demon back into a human, since it was a subject Tamayo had been studying, and it was something that was of Tanjiro's interest since he wanted to return Nezuko to her human form. Tamayo explains how this procedure is something she has to first develop before performing it, so she asks for Tanjiro's assistance, with him supplying her with the blood of very powerful demons who possess a strong dose of Muzan's blood, preferably a demon from the 12 demon moons, and the opportunity to study Nezuko. Tanjiro accepts the request, as it's not just a step forward to saving Nezuko, but many others. Things in a battle shonen don't stay quiet for too long though, and this is soon proven true as the demon Susamaru's handball tears through the room. Using her several hands, Susamaru attacks Tanjiro and Nezuko, with Muzan having ordered her to eliminate the man with the Hanafuda earrings, which are sported by Tanjiro. Tamayo asks the Kamado siblings not to worry about them, because as demons, they can handle themselves. She rejoins the fight as it nears its end, with Susamaru seemingly having an advantage as she's very powerful. Tamayo asks the demon if she knows about Muzan's true identity, and calls the Demon King a coward, possibly alluding to the man's desire to eliminate Tanjiro for his earrings, which used to be donned by Yoriichi, who had almost killed Muzan. Susamaru tries to silence her, but Tamayo tells her how demons only stick together and even kill each other due to Muzan manipulating them so they can't unionize and attack the Demon King. Yushiro is quick to notice that Tamayo is using her her blood demon art on Susumaru to make her blurt out the truth for the sake of making the demon speak Muzan's name out loud, which would trigger a reaction where Muzan's cells within Susumaru would kill her from inside. Tamayo's trick works and Susumaru ends up mentioning the Kibutsuji name while referring to Muzan, following which Muzan's arm appears from inside her and kills her, with Muzan stopping her demonic regeneration. As the sun rises, Susumaru's body is incinerated, following which Tamayo collects the blood samples of her and her partner. We also get a bittersweet moment soon after when Nezuko shows her affection for Tamayo and Yushiro. The demons are bewildered to see Nezuko's cute behavior, and Tanjiro explains how she considers them to be a part of her family despite them being demons due to their humane personalities, mainly because she was conditioned to treat humans as her family. Naturally, she had the desire to protect Tamayo and Yushiro, which touched Tamayo's heart, and she cries with her head buried in Nezuko's shoulder. Ever since she became a demon, Tamayo had always been alone, with her having killed her own family and then being forced to aid Muzan. After breaking her link with Muzan, she was still alone, as she couldn't interact with other demons, while demon slayers would never stand by a demon like her. So this is the first time in a long time Tamayo had experienced someone wanting to protect her. Before the Kamado siblings leave, Tamayo offers Tanjiro to let Nezuko stay with her and Yushiro, but because Nezuko wants to be with her brother, Tamayo wishes them the best and eventually relocates her hideout since Susumaru's arrival had alerted Muzan of her and Yushiro's location. The Swordsmith Village Arc. Tamayo has no presence in the upcoming arcs, at least until the Swordsmith Village Arc. She'd acquired the blood samples of powerful demons such as Kyogai, Daki, and Gyutaru, as Tanjiro had been a part of defeating them and was tasked with helping her procure the blood of powerful demons. Using that, she's shown to be successful in creating an antidote in this arc, an antidote to turn a demon back into a human. She tries it out on the man from Asakusa, whom Muzan had turned into a demon, and it works. Naturally, she pens down the news in a letter to inform Tanjiro, and even talks about the mutations witnessed in Nezuko's blood samples, which had been crucial in creating the antidote. Finally, Tamayo ends the letter with her theory that the reason why Nezuko does not possess intelligence like other demons is because her body is prioritizing building resistance to the sun over acquiring intelligence. Towards the very end of the arc, Tamayo's theory is proven correct as Nezuko conquers the sun, following which she starts to acquire an ability to speak. Hashira Training Arc. As previously mentioned, Tamayo has always operated alone due to her breaking away from the demons. We have seen how the Hashiras reacted to Nezuko, so it's quite obvious that they wouldn't believe Tamayo's benevolence as a demon. That changes in this arc when a crow is sent to Tamayo from the Ubuyashiki estate as her help is enlisted. Following this, she begins to work alongside Insect Hashira Shinobu Kocho to enhance the anti-Kibutsuji drug and help Shinobu with lacing her body with wisteria poison. Due to Shinobu's hatred for demons, the Hashira wasn't the most cordial with Tamayo and Yushiro, but they were eventually able to bridge their gap. Her contribution against Muzan. Although not a combatant, Tamayo is a key player in the series when it comes to defeating Muzan, and it all starts during the Infinity Castle arc, right after Kagaya Ubuyashiki blows up himself, his wife, 2 of his children, and his estate to take down Muzan. The Demon King begins to regenerate from his blown apart bits and recovers from the wounds when Tamayo strikes using the blood demon art of the man turned demon from Asakusa. This art, called the Flesh Seed, sends large thorny spikes through Muzan's body, holding him in place to immobilize him. Somehow, Tamayo had managed to procure the man's blood demon art to use it herself before she turned him back into a human. Regardless, Muzan starts to absorb the spikes, and Tamayo takes advantage of the fact that Muzan is in the zone to absorb. She rushes towards him and pushes her fist into his stomach, allowing Muzan to absorb her body part. Muzan doesn't know why Tamayo has done such a thing and asks her about it. To this end, she reveals how her fist has a drug that can turn a demon back into a human. Muzan is shocked and also in denial. An altercation begins between the two as Tamayo screams and cries over Muzan turning her into a demon and causing her to kill her own family, who were the very people she wanted to live longer for. Muzan begins to crush her skull with his hand as Tamayo states how the both of them should die here and now when she signals Gyome Himejima to head in for the kill. Muzan eventually teleports the Demon Slayers to the Infinity Castle. After the arc ends and the remaining demons of the 12 Demon Moons have been defeated, we witness Muzan holding Tamayo's head and claiming that her drug has failed to have an impact on him. In her last moments, Tamayo pleads with Muzan to give her family back to her, and he crushes her skull, killing her once and for all. Since Tamayo created Yushiro, her death is felt by the latter and he's sent into a rage. Naturally, he exacts his vengeance against Muzan by helping out the Demon Slayers during the final battle. Muzan's assumptions of Tamayo's drug being a failure are proven false as we learn about the drug aging him by 9,000 years, weakening him enough to allow the Demon Slayers to fight him. He also fails to split his body to escape due to the third stage of the drug preventing it. And finally, Muzan experiences the death of his cells as a result of the 4th stage of the drug, allowing demon slayers to land blows on him and stall him until sunrise, when his body begins to incinerate. Desperate not to die, he transfers his cells to Tanjiro to make him the next Demon King and the one to conquer sunlight, as he shares the same blood as Nezuko. He hopes to live his dreams through Tanjiro, but Tamayo takes that away as well, with the anti-Kibutsuji drug being used by Kanao Kocho to turn Tanjiro back into a human. Marvelous verdict! Despite not having a ton of screen time, Tamayo is one of the most important characters in all of Demon Slayer, as it would have been impossible to defeat Muzan and attain Tanjiro's goal of reverting Nezuko back without her impressive contributions. With that, today's video comes to an end. What did you think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section down below, and until next time, this has been Wheezy249 for Marvelous Videos. Thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and have a marvelous day!